Hello everybody and welcome back. It's Redundancy back again, also known as CR, like you can see on the screen right now. So this stream slash replay, depending how you see it, is a fun exercise slash activity of taking random stuff and doing and making stuff with it. Now, I'm no expert in survivalism, bushcrafting, making, even creating, even me, yeah, or preparedness. I'm just one who puts that knowledge gain into something better, as like many of you trying to create a better future starting today. So join CR here. Let's create and combine and build and make things together. So basically I need about 5 people channels to start this, give or take. The rules are simple. Only using the items stated and only using the specific tool stated. Create whatever you can. Maybe trying to make it crafting, maybe trying to make it more functional and actually like useful using like a multi-tool, for example. So let's see what we can think of as we think outside the box a little on this stream. So let me whip out everything here so I can see what's going down. So while I wait for everyone to jump in here, I know I didn't give as much notification for this one. We need an hour notification, but it's alright. While I get some stuff ready here, a sip of coffee here too while I'm at it. See what we can combine together. Let me whip up the chat here. Oops. Let's start off with the intro here. CR is here. I can click it. Come on, click. Boom! CR's in the house. Combination mode time. Man, I love this mode. And in theory, or not in theory, but in actuality, I actually do this all the time. It's kind of how I think when I'm trying to get that something that's not in a useful state, any useless state, and bring it back to something where it's in a useful state. Hopefully in the same functionality, but maybe different. Thinking secondary uses or tertiary uses for something. So maybe it's that can that I'm reusing, for example. And I actually have reused a can, and not just to put something into. I've actually reused it because it was, because I needed a flat piece of aluminum. So I've used that. Let me just turn the camera here. Oh, yeah. Can't forget this. Still have this. Let me just leave my CR up on the screen right now. Something I made in our stage prop here. message too. Oops. Alright. Just give me a so. Need to move my something right. Hold on a sec. I need to move something real quick here. My laptop's not actually sitting correctly. I need to prop it up. And yes, I'm actually improvising something to prop it up. Trying to prop this up so it actually not only stands still, but it's actually for fun. So I'm just using a lid to actually prop it up a bit. That way my fans actually have some room here. Alright, let's try that again. Alright. Alright. There we go. That's more like it. So now I can actually type without actually moving the laptop too much. Oh! Look who it is. It's M Puppy Breath. M Puppy Breath. Welcome back, M Puppy Breath. And yes, I am back. Aw, thanks, M Puppy Breath. Yes, I took them off for now. For now. I'm gonna be a little bit more active in this mode. Oh wait, I'm always in this mode. Like, a lot of the time. And that's with an EH, by the way. A lot. So yeah, a little background while I'm waiting for some people to drop in here. So I can start this mode off. Like I said, this is a fun exercise on creating, really, in a nutshell. Because sometimes you gotta improvise something. You gotta put something together and make this XYZ system or thing work. Now, ideally, you would like to have more ideal things. But sometimes you gotta tweak and work with what you got. Just, many of you might be familiar with having to do something like that. Maybe it's in a very small scale where you're improvising a bandage, for example. I've done that once or twice, at least. Because for some reason, your workplace, whatever, stuff happens, and you look into the first aid kit at work, and you're like, that's it. These bandages, there's no dressing in there. The bandages are dried out and like, yeah, you're just like, I remember one time I had to do that, and I was just like, whatever. I'm glad I brought my own. I had to whip up something I had in a bag. I was just like, okay, I guess I'll be using this. So sometimes I've had to improvise stuff on the fly, working with what I got, making it work and stuff like that. Yes, just for you and Puppy Breath. Nice, awesome emoji right there, just for you. And like I said in the previous live stream, I do appreciate your support. Thank you. So yeah, while I'm waiting for some people, I'm just gonna warm up here. Literally, warm up with something. Just kind of play around with it. Now, this ain't really per se creation mode time, but a lot of the time, I just realized something. I put too many eyes in there. Let me correct my, I didn't realize I added an extra eye in there. Let me correct that real quick. Alright, there we go. I didn't realize I added an extra eye in the right there. But, thank goodness I noticed that, so I can adjust that. As I just edit the text document that I have for it. So, see what I mean? Sometimes even I miss things. Typo. But I fixed it, which is all good. Hey, it's Dakota in the family. Hello, and welcome to the live stream, where we enter into like combination mode time. And like I said, it's an exercise on putting stuff together randomly. And just kind of, you know, test your thinking outside the box a little, and maybe seeing things beyond just what you normally would see. So, for example, oh look, I've got this rock in my hand. Oh wait, it's not just a rock. It's flat on the bottom, so I can use it as a more natural, not grinding, but sharpening stone, or at least to hone the edge and stuff like that on a knife, for example, cutting tool. I'd use this one. It's not my best one. I've made some other ones since, but like I said, looking beyond just surface, most people would be like, oh, it's just rock. Wow, it can be more than just rock. Just like how this bracelet is more than just a bracelet, for example. It's a little bit more than that. Sup, old man? How's it going? I know I had issues with the last stream, that's why you didn't see me. But I'm really glad you're here right now, old man. I do appreciate you coming by. Like, the emoji says it all. Sup, Jeep Things? Jeep Things Outdoors in the mode with me in combination mode time. Sup, Johnny? I know I know a lot of you, well, at least half of you are familiar with this mode. And if you're not, like I said, it's in the description right now. And I've said it many times, and I just said it like 2 minutes ago. So, now that I got enough people in here, at least enough, I'm gonna have that sip of coffee right here. As I look at the chat real quick. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. I gotta pop up the chat. Hold on! Oh, and while I'm doing that, the volume should be better. I didn't realize I had the volume so low on the last stream, but I did pick it up, so it should be much louder than it was before. And for people that were in the previous stream, well, you know. So, hit me up on a 1 right now if it's better than the last stream. And Puppy Breath, Jeep Things. I know you two were in. Alright, I popped up the chat on the side there so I can easily see what's going down. Yes, of course, and Puppy Breath Coffee. I appreciate you guys watering that light to make it grow. So, alright. So right now I should have at least 4 people, right? Let me double check here. Yeah, okay. I got 4 people, 3 or 4 people. So right now, if you're in the chat right now, watching this live, Give me one item. You guys get to pick one item in the chat right now. Just a single item, per se. So nothing like I wouldn't say a survival belt, but you can put that in if you want. And it doesn't even have to be really survival related, per se. It can be as simple as a pen, like this blue pen I have right here. I like this blue pen actually, no. I asked my friend for it. I was like, oh, I like this. It's nice and small. I could easily put this in my pocket. But yeah, it could be as simple as a pen, or let's say something like this pouch right here, which I would use for my mouse. Could be, smartphone, or for you guys in the US, call them cell phones still. Something like that. And that doesn't really matter. And if I actually have an example or something nearby of it, I'll actually bring it too. So you can actually see visual aids. And let's go not experiment, but like, let's see what we can put together with this stuff. And maybe understand some of it a little bit more. So just in case you actually have to use these items for their non-usual ways of using it, you would be like, oh yeah, this might have this inside of it. So, for example, smartphone right here, maybe it isn't working. Maybe you toasted it. But there could be resources in there that you could use. And I have seen broken cell phones before, so I have seen them. So I do know a few things that are inside of these. Because I know sometimes when I'm scavenging and stuff like that, sometimes I find things around, and they're not in the best shape, but I'm like, oh, so that's what's inside one. And kind of understanding it and trying, oh, hey, there's a piece of metal in there. Oh, there's glass in there, or whatever, something like that. Something that could be useful, or a little tidbit of information where, hey, if I needed to break this smartphone because, battery's dead, whatever, I can use it for maybe something else, for example. Thanks for the 1 Jeep things. Let's see here. An insult from a sneaker or shoe on puppy breath? Alright. Let's see what else some other people have. Now, after people have said their one item, for example, I'll be bringing in the tool for the round. So it could be a multi-tool, scissors, maybe it is a fixed blade. I'll vary it up. Because sometimes, obviously, we're not have our things in our pockets, like keys and stuff like that. But this is an exercise to kind of be like, hey, I don't have that stuff this time. Or I don't have access to it for whatever reason. And like I said, you may have to improvise. It might not be ideal, but it could help. It depends, right? Not saying everything that combined together it's gonna work out just like that. May vary, depending on what you're using and the situation, what you need it for. So, let's see here. Inside a sneaker. Alright. I like how you snuck that in, Puppy Breath. You're a letterman? I think that's what you just said. I'm pretty sure, even though it's not spelled right, but I'm pretty sure that's what you meant. Unless you mean something else. Alright. I guess Johnny wants to bring in a multi-tool, which is fine. I'll just vary up the tool for the round. That's all. Alright, so I got 2 things at least. What you got, old man? You got something? An item, old man? It doesn't matter what it is, like I said. And the more different it is, it makes it a little bit more challenging. Like, it doesn't have to be anything like paracord or anything like that. We could start off simple, but it could be as not abstract, as different as You know, hey, I want to bring a Bluetooth speaker into the round. I've had people bring in a Bluetooth speaker for the round. So, I mean, I know there's things you can do with speaker stuff like that. So let's see what you got. Yeah. Well, while I wait for Old Man to say something here, and whoever else is watching, I know there's a few viewers watching right now. I can see it on the chat. I do appreciate everyone dropping in. You know, leave me comment on the side chat of an item of whatever it is. Like I said, pen, pencil, lighter. Maybe it's this. I don't even. You know, this is just something random. You know what? You know what? Why not? For this round, I'll bring this in for the round. This looks like something that you would use as a peg or something. It's kind of short. It's plastic. It looks like something that you would use for plants or something like that. I think I found this. And let's see. The tool for this round. Alright. The tool for this round is going to be... Oh, okay, old man. You got a spoon? Alright. Hold on, hold on. Okay, I don't quite per se have a spoon on hand. Although I probably could get one. But I do have a fork, so we're gonna pretend this fork is a spoon. Spoon. We're pretending it's a spoon. So spoon and a fork, we're pretending it's a spoon. Alright, alright, alright. So, we got a spoon. Yeah. This peg-like thing. Johnny from G Things Outdoors wants to bring in a Leatherman. Alright. Well, let's pretend it's I know some of them vary, so we'll work with that. I know some of them have saws, some of them don't. Some have scissors, some of them don't. Some of them are spring loaded, some of them aren't. You know, and stuff like that. Some of them have blade and some of them don't. But let's just pretend it's got everything. So, anyways, so these two. And for the tool I'll bring for this round, I'll bring in some shears or medical shears, something like this. Right here. So this is the tool, and I guess Johnny G Things Outdoors does not have that. We're gonna have access to a multi-tool, a Leatherman in this case. And oh yeah, and I can't forget M Puppy Breath snuck in that. Oh, did I sneak in that pun? Yeah. She stuck in that sneaker. Insole. Okay, insole. Alright, so what can we do with this? Now, why you guys think about that? You know, and anyone else in the chat right now, or if you're catching the replay, you know, you want to timestamp this in for the and give your own thing, feel free. So anyone in the chat right now or watching the replay, I'll actually put something there so you can tell. Or not. Yeah, I had to sneak that in, you know that. Anyway, so round one of this, of combination mode. So let's see. Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm assuming spoon, alright? Well, I haven't tried this, but yet I do know of this, and I've seen our channels doing this. But it is possible, depending on the spoon. It might be easier on a brighter day, but it is possible because it's concave. Obviously, because the way that you scoop, it's possible to use a spoon for solar ignition. It is possible. Now, it's probably at best got to be a bright day, sunny, fairly clear skies. But it is an option. Especially if you had a spoon that was rounder in nature instead of being more oval. I mean, a spoon like, well, maybe twice as wide or whatever. If it was shiny and if you could shine it up and stuff like that, it's possible to get solar ignition off of that. You probably don't need charcoal, but we'll keep working on that. Maybe we can make fire. I don't know. So, let's see. Scissors. Wow. Wow. Let's see here. We got a lot of tools. I noticed. We got a lot of tools and we got an insole from a shoe. So, this one's a little tricky, I guess. I mean, well, we do have we do have that Letterman. I guess with that Letterman tool, you know, you find resources like wood and stuff like that. You may be able to carve up something, for example. So, for example, yeah, actually, everyone likes to see stage props, right? So, I'm actually gonna go get my Letterman out. I have it in my. I got the rebar right here. So pretend this is the Letterman of choice. Could be another one. I'm using it, for example. So, you know, we got pliers. Okay. Pretending this is a spoon. Let's say we actually got the solar ignition, or okay. And first, you know, and we were lucky enough. It was a clear day. We actually got a fire going. You know, it's starting to smoke, and you blow it in flame. Maybe you're using this Letterman to kind of, you know, maybe it's got a cutting tool on it. Maybe you had some knowledge and some experience with skill, of course, of making feather sticks. And you made some feather sticks, you got some solar ignition going. Okay, you got a fire. And from that, well, we could do more. Let's see, this Letterman has like a saw on it. So we probably could, in theory, make some sort of pegs. Even though we have one, but we only have one. So, I mean, I'm trying to think about this. I mean, we don't have, per se, any access to cordage, aside from anything else you may have on you, for example. But we're excluding that, and we're pretending that we got nothing except for these items and the natural resources of the land, wherever we are. You know, and so some of the stuff may vary depending where you are. If you're in the woods more, you know, you don't have access to wood and stuff like that. And if you're in the snow, well, you probably should have came with a little bit more than just this stuff. So let's see what you guys got. Whoa! Oh, look at that! I just turned that spoon into a fork. Oh, I'm just kidding. I guess I know it's possible. I mean, with just hand tools, I don't know. I don't know how long that would take, but I guess in theory you probably could. It might not be like as good as like something commercially bought like this, but it could be possible. You know, maybe you're making a spork out of it. No, I guess. I guess it wouldn't be too difficult. I know it's much easier with power tools, obviously, to grind or cut metal. I've never cut metal with this Letterman before. I've cut, you know, wood and stuff like that with a saw, and I've used it for other things. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this though. See, this round is actually more difficult, and I still haven't used the sole of the sneaker for anything. And for simplicity, I'm just gonna assume that we have both soles. So sole, I mean, it depends too. Like I know some of those insoles are like rigid, some of them and stuff like that. Some of them are thin and squishy. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, the squishy ones, I don't know if you could actually even attempt to even get cordage out of that. I mean, like, cut around. I do have scissors. Do have scissors in this case, for this example. I mean, maybe possible. I've never tried to make cordage from a sole of a shoe. But I think and Puppy Breath said the inside part. So, and we're not talking about the rubber on the bottom of the shoe. Which, if you had something like that, also you can use that to extend your flame. Buy you a little bit more time with that open flame. And also you can, let's say we got that fire started with that spoon with solar ignition, which hopefully one of these days I'll actually attempt that on camera. I've not officially done that yet with solar. I do know it's possible. Though. Cool. It was awesome to hear, Johnny. But yeah, you got a tool like this. You can do a lot of things with a multi-tool. Now, there is a saying, a multi-tool is good for doing a lot of things, but it might not do anything specific great, just because the nature of the multi-tool. So, now the example I always use for this is a kid's toy, where you may need something more like a precision screwdriver, which I have on the side, but that's skinny. So like, let's say this, more a screwdriver that we're probably used to seeing. Some of them are smaller, Phillips head, flathead, Robinson, and stuff like that. But sometimes, yeah, you might have this, but it won't work because the screw is sunk down below, and you need more reach, like with a precision screwdriver. So, for example, in that case, this would be better than a multi-tool for that application. It's not always the case, but sometimes I'm just like, yeah, multi-tool is not gonna cut it. I need a precision screwdriver just because, you're changing batteries out of something, like a radio or something like that, and the screws kind of sunk below the surface, where you need to reach in there with with a precision screwdriver like this one. So multi-tools are really good. Don't get me wrong, I like multi-tools, but they can't always work. It's just the nature of the multi-tool. I mean, like, unless I have a screwdriver right here, but if I can't get it in there, it's not gonna be much use to me at that time. But something like this might be more useful because I can actually get in there to unscrew it. Oh, look who's just in time. Hey, Will from Just in Time Prepping's in the house. Or more like, in combination mode with me. Awesome. Well, we might as well play another round, because that last round, for first round, that was quite difficult to think outside the box. So we'll go for another round on this, so you can read the description down below. I don't know if Will's been in here while I did this mode, but basically Will, and anyone else that's really watching the replay and all that stuff, basically the audience, in this case, the side chat, comes up with one item each. Now I need per se 4 or 5 people or channels, and after the items, I might bring another item in, and I'll bring in a tool for that round. So only using those items and the tool, what can we create out of it? Can we create something useful? Can we create something more crafty? Whatever it is. And the items you guys choose, like I said, it does not have to be as, like, oh, hey, paracord, or something like that, 50 feet of paracord. No, it could be more like this pen, for example. And I don't mind actually when people pick these other items. I know and Puppy Breath did in the last round. Because it makes you kind of have to think outside the box. Yeah, like, of course, in the real world, you're not just going to be limited with this stuff. But, like I said, this is an exercise to train the mind. Well, not train the mind, but to exercise the mind. And thinking outside the box, kind of looking things at a different angle and stuff like that. Because I know at times, not all the time, you may have to improvise. You may not have the exact stuff you need, the exact tool you need at that time. And hopefully, you can still make it go with things with you or around you. If that makes any sense. Of course, my chat just disappeared. Alright. Anyways. Alright, we're starting in the new round, second round. So, leave your item or of choice in the comments right now on the side chat. Alright, so Johnny from G Thinks Outdoors is going to bring in a candle for this round. Alright. Oh look, I just happen to have a candle. I have the stage props ready to go. Alright, candle. Let's see here. Will from Just in Time Prepping is going to bring in a hammer. Well, okay, I don't have a hammer nearby. Although I probably get one. But we'll pretend that this butter knife is the hammer. Well, maybe more like this. It's heavier on this side. So we got a hammer, a candle. Okay, well, I'll let you have that second item. We're only supposed to have one item each, but I'll let you bring in a second item on this round. Why not? Monofilament line. Oh, let's see here. Let's see. Not sure if I have monofilament line handy right now, but let me see here. Well, okay, I don't have the monofilament line here randomly on round, but I do have this bank line. So we'll pretend this is monofilament line. It's clear. It's not bank line. It's monofilament line, right? So that's all I got for this round. Oh, I better make sure I put my spoon. I mean fork away. I mean spork away. Alright. Let's see if anyone else wants to bring in something for this round. And I will bring in for this round here. And I'm bringing in an item for this round. Alright. I'm bringing in this. This is part of a seatbelt. This is a buckle from a seatbelt. So that's what I'm bringing into this round. Is a seatbelt buckle. So right now, we got a candle for me, seatbelt buckle, and we'll pretend that we have all the parts to it. But that does not include the webbing. Alright. We got some monofilament line, which I'm representing with this bank line right here. And a hammer, which I'm representing with this butter knife. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds if you want to bring in one more item, especially for those who haven't set an item. And for this round, the tool that we have access to in this case is going to be, which is on my keys right now, is Victorinox. This is the recruit. So basically it's got 2 blades on it, can opener, flathead screwdriver, the toothpick, and the little pliers, the little tweezers. So that's the tool for this round. It's a Swiss Army knife. In this case, specifically the recruit, which is basically the cheapest medium size one that you can. I know you can get the cheaper small, but I like this. Anyways, get the can opener. Could be useful. I have actually used the can opener on this. I was just like giving it a try and seeing how easy or difficult it was. I'm like, oh, it's not that too difficult. I can open up a can with it. So I always got that can opener on me. No need for a P38 or anything like that. I got this. So let's see here. Let me put the scissors away here. Let's see what we can do with a hammer, a candle, monofilament line, a seatbelt buckle without the webbing. And I know old man wants to bring in the fly swatter. Okay. Fly swatter, right? Which I am going to represent, if I don't have one nearby. I'll represent the fly swatter with this. Right here. We'll pretend this is the fly swatter. We'll pretend it's one of those plastic ones, and let's pretend it's pink. Whatever. So we got a fly swatter. And you want to, and a camel tarp. Okay, let me, I should actually type this out. Alright. Um, and yes, I do know I probably spelled that wrong. Feels like I'm forgetting something on this list. Oh yeah, the fly swatter. Okay, those are the items that we get to have. Hammer, candle, camel tarp, Victorinox medium size tool here, monofilament line, and a fly swatter. Oh, and I almost forgot. Alright, and I'll add in the can of beer, one can of beer. For some reason, you don't have the 6-pack or an 8-pack. One can of beer, and this seatbelt buckle. It could be a standard one from like the car or something like that, but representation. And there's no webbing with it. So let's see what we can do here. Well, we actually got quite a bit here to work with. So while I wait for you guys to type out a few things, on the ideas that maybe you would consider, here's my thinking behind it right now. So we got a candle. We cannot per se light it. We have no ferro rod, so we can't just spark it up. We have no source of flame. We got no lighter or matches or anything like that. But if we did get a fire going, we can use a flame started with whatever. Could use this as a flame extender and as a candle, obviously. So let's see here. Now, we did choose a can of beer, right? So let's say it's a tall boy, one of those 710 ml cans. Those cans are actually wider than standard cans. So, and of course, this I've shown before. It's possible. Let's say it's sunny out. We could use that for solar ignition. I've already shown that video, so if you want to see if I can do it with solar, can I do this with solar? You can check that out. I'll try to end screen it or link it in or something like that. I might queue it up in the card, something like that. So that's possible. So in theory, we could get solar ignition and indirectly use sunlight to get a fire to light this candle. Okay. Okay, that settles that. Now we got this tarp. We got that monofilament. I know. I guess could probably string that out with monofilament. Let's say we got 50 feet of it, a spool of it for some reason. You know, maybe it's on a broken fishing rod, I don't know, something like that. And we still have access to the line. Now, I probably wouldn't use just one line of that, the string as a ridge line or something like that. I probably would need a little bit more to work with, just so it's more substantial, let's just say. So it's not too thin. I'll probably, join like 3 or 4 of them together. So let's say that 50 feet divided by 4, that's about 42 and a half. I mean, not 42 and a half. So we could get that. Yeah, we could get that out. And let's say it's 10 feet. And let's say it's 30-pound test. That could be used as a ridge line or something to help you lash the tarp towards like the trees you have, for example. Let's see what else. Now we got this hammer, which I'm representing with this knife. I mean this butter knife. So obviously we could hammer stakes in and use whatever you'd use a hammer for or a mallet for. Now let's see here. We got that Victorinox, so it's got a blade on it, so in theory we could make pegs with it, or at least sharpen up the sticks to make pegs. Even though we don't have a saw in this case, or a multi-tool, you can, between the V and the trees, and kind of break the stick. And kind of, maybe you find some rocks nearby. I know we got no file in this, but maybe you find a rock nearby, preferably bigger than this, obviously, and you kind of use that natural resource to kind of shape your peg a little bit more. For example, what else do we have? That fly swatter. Well, I'm already thinking, if it's Hondo, maybe I could use it as a fan. And, oh, hey, if we got that fire going, maybe I can use that fly swatter to get some air into the system so the flames would grow hotter, for example. It's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible. So let's see what you guys got here. And let me welcome into the room Corey Survival. Hello, Corey. Or should I say Corey and Kira. Hi. It's nice of you, or both of you, to drop in. I appreciate it. Kind of been speak of fire. I'm kind of missing yours right now. Some of them. So yeah, Corey, if you, I don't know if you can see that on the chat, but right now, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this mode, but using a hammer, candle, candle turb, Victorinox medium tool, monofilament line, and a fly swatter with a can of beer and a seatbelt buckle. What can you create with it? What can you do with it? Now, I've already listed a few things. Um, kind of thinking about it on the fly right now. So I was saying breaking the stick or the branch with in a V in a tree, so you can go something like that. If you didn't have a saw, for example, make some sharp. Use your Victorinox in this case because it's the tool we got to sharp to make it a little bit more pointy, and then use that hammer in this example, which I'm representing with this butter knife, to hammer the peg in, and using the monofilament line to help you string up or connect the shelter of that tarp, for example. Alright, Johnny, thank you for taking the time to drop in. I always appreciate the support from Keep Things Outdoors. Thank you very much. Whoa, I don't know, you could, that looks like it's gonna be a bunch of videos right there. I'll get into that later, honestly. Yeah, I'm doing alright, Corey. So, let's see here. I guess I must have named everything off, then you can create with it. Because no one's saying anything in the chat right now. I know you guys can think of something. I know you guys can think outside the box a little here. So, the seatbelt buckle right here. Now, it is metal, obviously. There's a neodymium magnet. You can see it is magnetic, or it can be magnetized. Now, it's kind of thick to make a compass or anything like that. Probably not on where, or you don't have to suspend it on something that can float it really well, because it's much bigger than a needle. Let's see what else. Now the seatbelt. Remember how I said? Remember how I said that this seatbelt, for this example, we're gonna pretend that we have all the parts for it, but we don't have the webbing. So just the buckle itself. So usually buckles come in 2 or 3 pieces. Now this one is for a 3-point harness, but we'll pretend it's something like this, or maybe one that you might find in a car, for example, or a truck or a vehicle. Now, it is possible to grind that down. So you want to make something with a 90-degree angle, because technically, I don't think we have a tool that has a 90-degree angle. This Victorinox doesn't really have one per se, and it's not a locking, so I wouldn't chance doing it on the backside of the blade and stuff like that. That hammer, we'll assume it's a wooden one that has a claw in it. There's probably not going to be a spot on it. But this could be transformed, grind down into something that has a 90-degree angle, so you could scrape something with, for example. Now, I wouldn't say I would do this right away, because I'll say that's probably going to take time. But something to think about. Now, because these were originally used to connect, well, the seatbelt, well, the webbing with the seat. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. They were meant to join together. So, you may be able to use it to join something there. I not know exactly, because we only have monofilament line for this one, but not sure if you want to make a sash or something like that and use this as a way to connect it. Not ideal, yeah. I mean, maybe you could make a belt using the seatbelt buckle. Now, like I said, monofilament line's probably not ideal for that. You probably would like to have something like paracord, something thick, or something like flat, like webbing, for example. Probably more ideal. Not saying you couldn't do it with monofilament, but it may not be the most comfortable thing. I definitely wouldn't want that over my skin. It's alright. I guess it would probably be alright over your hands or something like that, but it would be kind of thin and might dig in, so it wouldn't be ideal. Let's see here. What else? What else? As I try to think of some more here. If you're wondering, I actually have a sensor delay. And it times out sometimes, and I gotta re-engage it. Looks like you guys are gonna have fun in October. Not quite like Oktoberfest, but it's gonna be festive and awesome. I really can't wait to see that content, by the way. So yeah, those are the things I just came up with. I mean, let's see. Yeah. A camel turret. I mean, I guess in theory we probably could make a rain collection thing, maybe. Especially if it actually can hold the water in it for a bit. But most likely you probably would use that for shelter reasons. Or maybe even just to cover yourself because it's raining, for example. Because I guess in theory, if you had a tarp, let's say it's 10 by 10 or something like that, you probably could fold it in a certain way and make it into something to cover yourself against the rain. I know right now, for me, as I speak, it is overcast out, so that's why I'm thinking about it. Now, also, you probably would rather have like a poncho, but if you only had this camel tarp and it's pouring out and you need to get somewhere, it may be useful for that reason to give you some protection against the water or rain. You might have to improvise something with like some cordage. Now, again, the monofilament's probably not ideal because you're gonna probably have a difficult time with knots and stuff like that. I mean, I could put the Arbor or Canadian jam knot into a fishing line and stuff like that, and I might be able to like put a bow line or anything. But some of these air knots may be a little bit more difficult, especially the ones that have turn. So like that Fairmont friction hitch, well, I gotta turn the line or spin it around, so that might be more difficult. Whereas something that has knots in it, like the Arbor, Canadian jam knot, or the bowline knot, would probably be easier to do. I mean, I've never tried to make even an alpine butterfly knot with an alpine butterfly knot with monofilament line, but I think that would be actually easier than trying to make the Fairmont friction hitch. Of course, I probably put a stopper at the end, like I said. I'm representing it with this bank line because it's actually easier to see. Because if I held up monofilament, you'd be like, "Where is it, CR? I don't see it." That's because it's transparent. So let's see. What else? What else? Now, I keep thinking how can you use that monofilament for fishing. Well, honestly, you can use it for fishing purposes. Let's see what. Well, you got a hammer, so if you did find metal or something, you may be able to kind of bend it into a hook-like shape, maybe. If you didn't know how to craft something with wood or bone, for example, or those resources are not ideal or not available at that time. So yeah, this one has lots of possibilities for this round, I think, but let's just say the monofilament's not ideal. But, compared to the last round we had, you would be way better off if you had this stuff in the second round. That first round was quite difficult to do. Oh yeah, that reminds me, Corey. I saw that picture. I saw that picture from TAC. They have it as the intro, as part of the intro. I saw that picture. That was cool. You guys are all wearing orange. I don't have orange on, but I do have yellow and red that make orange. Or, what's that called? Cyan? Yeah. So let's see here. Let's go. Hit me up on the chat if you want another round. Who wants another round? Who wants another round of combination mode? Who wants another round? I don't hear you in the chat. So, again, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Wait, you can't see it. There we go. So let me know you guys wanted to do another round. I'm always game for another round of this. Like I said, it's all thinking outside the box. Mental exercise. Seeing things beyond what you normally would consider for the item. Even this candle, for example. Let's say your zipper's broken. Yeah, you could probably do something with a fishing line. But instead, you might be able to use this. Now, I'm not wearing a zipper, but put it on the zipper to kind of use the wax in the candle to lubricate the zipper if the zipper was stuck, for example. I mean, let's face it, if you were rushing or whatever, for some reason you have a candle in your pocket or something like that, and you're rushing out or whatever, and yeah, you got a jacket on in this case, and you get it stuck, and it's windy out, well, the wind's not coming in. And you're like, oh, my zipper's stuck, and for some reason you have a candle or find one, you can use that to kind of rub it onto the zipper and try to lubricate it a little so reduce the friction, so maybe, just maybe, be able to pull the zipper up and down again and return it back to normal. So you can zipper it up, cover up, you know, get more out of the wind, protect yourself against the wind or the rain or whatever. Oh, we're playing some lore here. I know Will's got to take off. Thanks for taking the time to drop in, Will. I do appreciate it. And see, there is live streams. Especially combination mode time. So, I know I've lost a few people in there, so I probably will add in an item or two, which is fine. So in the chat right now, let's go for another round. Round 3. As you can see, I'm using it shorthand now. So, CM. Another round of CM here. So another round. So one item. And like I said, it doesn't really have to be anything like paracord. Like I said, it could be as simple as a pen. It could be the insole of a shoe or a sneaker. I'm trying to sneak in a pine, but it's not working. I guess I should like walk away from doing those puns here. Just kidding. Anyway, so it could be something like that, a pen, pencil. I mean, I brought in a seatbelt buckle on the last round. And yes, if anyone's wondering, I have made something from this. Just not this one because I used the other part of this 3-point harness or buckle. You'll have to wait for that video though. You'll see it. You'll see it. It's quite interesting. But that I had to use power tools for that. In theory, you probably may be able to do it out with just stones or flat rock, but it would definitely take some time to hone that down, to grind that down. Not saying it's impossible, but it would definitely take a long time. I know how long it took me with power tools. That's with power tools. Just imagine not doing it with power tools. All by hand. With more primitive ways of doing it. There we go. There we go. Old man's got the tennis racket in. Alright. I could go get a tennis racket, but for this example, I'll use something else again. As a placeholder. I might as well use this again as the placeholder. So, we'll pretend this random thing is a tennis racket. So we got a tennis racket. What other items you guys got for this random combination mode? While you guys think about that, I'll be putting this bank line away. Bank line away before I forget. I always keep forgetting to put the stuff away while I'm doing this, because it's easy to bring all the stuff out, but I gotta put it back, or else I won't be in there when I need it. So, as I wait for a few more responses from everyone out there. Alcohol, right? Alcohol. Alright. Alcohol, hey? Alcohol. How are you gonna do this, and Puppy Rush? You need to be a little bit more specific on this one. It would help, anyways. Because alcohol can exist in a glass, aluminum can, or plastic, so you want to be a little bit more specific, just so we're not jumping to every combination. It should be good, right? No, it should be good, right? It should be good. Oh, okay. I got you there. And you're talking about rubbing alcohol, or what's that called? Isopropyl. Okay. We'll pretend that it's 90% rubbing alcohol, something like that. Something you can get at the dollar store or a local place like a pharmacy or a store. We'll just pretend it's. I don't have a bottle nearby. Well, I'll use something. Oh, okay. Well, we all know what rubbing alcohol comes in. It comes in that clear, transparent, translucent bottle. You can get it down to 50%, but in this case, we'll have it all the way up to 90%. You got a full bottle of it. Alright. We'll go like that. Alright. So, we got a tennis racket, alcohol. What you got for me, Corey? You got something there? Well, I wait to see if Corey's got something here. If anyone's wondering, we got another stage prop right here. I showed it in the last live stream. Let me see here. That's just made from wire. Oh, but it's in the shape of CR. See, I can create. See, CRs exist in a lot of places, and I've actually noticed a lot more words that have CR in it in that way. Not RC, but CR. Words like care, encourage, not just create. Those words too. So let me welcome in FFP. Hello, Howie, with Food Forest Permaculture. How's it going? And thank you for taking the time to drop in. I appreciate it. And I didn't realize how long I've been going for. Has it been that long? I didn't think I was going that long. Wow. I didn't realize I went for an hour already. I thought for sure I was still under the hour, but I look at the time, like, it's way over an hour now. Oh, it's cool, Corey. So yeah, um, Corey, if you want to leave your random item here for this round, feel free. And I know Food Forest Permaculture, I know you have not been in here for this combination mode time, but basically, it's just a mental exercise of taking random stuff and seeing what we can do with just that stuff. Now, I know operating a tool and maybe another item, but just using those items and the tool that I indicate or will show or use, what can we do with it? And just kind of thinking, with your own area, what you can do with your own skill, knowledge, and experience level. Because I know sometimes I've been surprised on what I see on the chat. I mean, I've offered different things too, and you kind of get an idea of how I think when I put things together. Where I try to take something useless or in useless state and bring it back into a useful or more useful state. Well, I'm doing alright, FFP. I do appreciate you coming by. Hopefully you had a good time and all that stuff. You know what, FFP? I know you. I'm not sure you still want to write something, but if you don't, I do have an item. It's probably more or less up your alley. So, and I can add that in. So let's see, what do we have here? We got rubbing alcohol, 90%. We got a tennis racket, apparently from Old Man. Yeah, you can deal with what you got. Or as what Creek Stewart would say, using what you have to get what you want or need, I should say. I think I've heard that saying before on one of his shows he's done. So I keep that in mind. Oh wow, that's awesome. I get to see it. Oh, that's a fish. So, you know what? For FFP, we're gonna have a fishing rod for this with line and one hook. That'll be the choice. I'll kind of just add it in there. So let's see here. Well, we'll add in if Corey says something. I'll add that in. But right now we have these. So we got those items. I wrote it in the chat. Now, I'm gonna make this a little bit more difficult here, and I'll produce for my item, which I'm gonna represent here, a selfie stick. So, yeah, I know, and I'm bringing a selfie stick for this round. Why not? So, selfie stick. So we got tennis racket, rubbing alcohol, and we'll just say it's a normal size, 90%. Fishing rod with line and one hook, and we have a selfie stick because I guess we're not we were planning to record some content or whatever. And for the tool for this round, here I am gonna choose a mini multi-tool, like this one right here. Now this one's got, this is spring-loaded pliers. It's got It's got a knife on it. It's not non-locking. It does not have a saw. It's got a serrated edge. It's got scissors on it, and it's got a can opener on it. And of course, the Phillips and flathead screwdriver. So using that stuff, what can we make? Or what can we do with it? While you guys think about that, I gotta put some stuff away. Yeah. So, I'm thinking off the bat, well, you know, we got line. We got some cordage right there. It's possible. But, you know, just like the previous round where we had monofilament line, you know, it's not ideal for a lot of needs if you had to tie things. It's kind of quite thin. But you could overlap it or have 2 or 3 lines of it, depending what you're doing. Let's see here. Rubbing alcohol. Tennis racket. See, we don't have even a way to develop a spark in here for fire purposes. This multi-tool is not, in this case, it's not it's not carbon steel, so I can't just hit a rock over it and get a spark. Not in this case. Now that tennis racket, that's quite interesting of an item, old man. I'm trying to think about that. Now, honestly, you could probably use the vertical and the horizontal grid. Maybe you might be able to use that, but then again, we already have fishing line, so you probably wouldn't want to do that. Just because you don't have to, because you already have line. Now, if we didn't have line, maybe you would use that for line for some reason, or something similar to that. It's been a while since I dismantled or played around with a tennis racket. Now, let's see. Now, I guess if you had a tennis racket, let's say it didn't have the mesh like grid structure in it for some reason, or you know you had to use it, or it's broken like that. You may be able, and I know it would take some time to make a fishing net and kind of put it onto that racket. I know it's possible. I haven't personally done that, but I do know it's possible. Maybe use it in conjunction with that fishing rod. Maybe. Especially if you had more lots and lots of line. You might be able to do that with a little bit of that knowledge of being able to make a net. Although most channels out there show it with, you know, paracord or something like that. I don't know if you can do it with monofilament line or fishing line to make something like that. Might be difficult. I don't think it would be impossible. I just don't know how well the knots would hold. But I haven't tried that yet. Let alone trying to make a net from like paracord or something like that. I do not know about that. I'm puppy graph if they're made from carbon steel. I know some of them they're meant for lightweight, so they're aluminum alloys. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how we can get fire. Now, yeah, if you knew how to do a bow drill or something like that, maybe. I mean, if you can do a hand drill, maybe, right? You probably get fire. And you have that rubbing alcohol to extend the flame a little once you do get something. And I guess we got the selfie stick, right? So in theory, if you really had to, I could break this side, extend this out, use it as a bellows. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that if I didn't have to, but I guess it's possible. It's basically, these are just circular tubes. So in theory, break this side, you know, using a rock or something like that, and break the other side right about here. And I have an extendable antenna that I can use to blow fire into, or blow air into a fire to increase the heat, or increase the heat output. So I'm adding more air into that fire triangle, so it's not consuming the fuel faster. That's if we can get the fire going. Like I said, for some reason we got no lighter, and I can't even think of a way to get solar ignition because we have nothing shiny, and there's no can in this case. So, I mean, it's quite difficult. Quite difficult. Quite difficult. Now, I don't know. I've seen fishing rods before, and I don't know if you could use that for like the bow part of a bow drill. Although, if you had wood, I guess you probably use wood as a bow. Probably not to use your fishing pole as a bow for a bow drill. I mean, if it's broken already, I guess that's an earthly. Let's say if it's still operational and stuff like that. And you do have that one hook, and you do have fishing line. So I probably wouldn't necessarily do that. But I guess we also have this too, so I was thinking. Can you make a fishing pole and improvise one from this? So let's say you didn't have that other fishing rod. Now it's stuck. I don't know, maybe you could make another one. Double your chance for getting fish or something like that. Of course, if we only have one hook, might be able to fashion something. Not sure from what at the moment, but might be possible. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think here. Yeah. It's difficult. This round's easier than the first round, but definitely not as easy as the second round. And I just have a little multi-tool. It's not even a medium or large size, like I've shown previously in the previous examples. So, not to be able to do really heavy stuff or bend stuff really heavily, especially the thick metal or something like that. Obviously, I got something to cut the line on the fishing on the reel part and stuff like that. Now, I was thinking, these fishing reels, they're basically a form of wheel and axle. Now, I've not tried this because I've never had a broken fishing rod to experiment with this with, but I was been thinking. Now, I do have an example, which is quite funny. Like I said, I do have an example here. Yes! Look, I have considered this, but I've been using this for something else. Because it spins, there might be spots on it that you can actually use it as kind of like a bearing block to reduce the friction. So you have that advantage of like a bearing or something like that. I know these spins, so is it possible? Maybe. Is it gonna be difficult? Probably. Because I know, they're not all made the same and stuff like that. But, if you had to be like, well, this may actually get your fire started. Especially if you're not proficient at, like, a bow drill or a hand drill or something like that. Or you need some sort of mechanical advantage, like a wheel and axle. Something like that. But that's just something, you would have to consider and try on your own. I have no idea. I've never made a bearing block with a fishing rod reel. Let's see what else here. So we got that line. Okay, what else? So let's say we actually mysteriously got that fire started with friction fire and reel to reduce the friction. And like I said, I've never done that, but let's assume that we did. You know, for this example. What else? Now let's say you fished before you did that, or you're using this selfie stick that's part of the example. I forgot I added. It should be in the chat. I forgot to add it into the chat, but maybe able to use this as a way to cast out again. Maybe. And like I said, maybe change this into a bellows, for example. Yeah, what else? And see, I'm trying to bring that tennis racket in. Besides just fishing, or as a fishing net, per se, that you would make. I'm trying to think of that tennis racket now. See, thanks, old man. I like that. See, now it's getting me thinking. Maybe getting you guys out there thinking. You know, if you're watching this live right now, I do appreciate everyone watching live. If you're catching this on the replay and stuff like that, you know, I do appreciate you checking out the replay of this. And maybe if, like I said, timestamp it and leave me a comment in the comments on something that maybe I or the chat hasn't thought of. I know I can think of a lot of things, but you know, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why did I think of that? You know? Because these are just ideas to consider. When in a real situation, you don't have different things to work with. You might have less or more to work with. You might have a bigger multi-tool. You might not have that fixed blade with you and such. More tools with you to do more. Maybe more natural resources around to use, like wood, stone, bone, sand, you know, all that stuff. Exactly, MPuppy. You know, it's kind of makes you think about it a little. A nice, fun environment. Because in a time of need or stress, you might not be considering these things. Because you might be not in the frame of mind. So in this way, we can do it as a, you know, as a mental exercise, and hopefully, you know, if you ever needed that information again, you'd be like, oh yeah, remembering from this live stream or another live stream or something, maybe from something else someone else has done, and be like, well, you know what, this might be the best option I have right now. You know, hopefully it wouldn't be the only option you have. Hopefully you would be more prepared beforehand and stuff like that. But as prepared as any one individual can be, sometimes you still have to improvise. Or things aren't ideal. For example. Just trying to fix this button I have right here. Huh! Wow, I guess if I broke a button, maybe I could use that fishing line to sew it up. Maybe. I've never actually tried to... See, now that got me thinking. I guess with some sort of mallet or whatever, if you found like a branch or whatever, that fishing hook, since it's got an eye on it, I've never actually tried to make a needle from a fishing hook, or vice versa, a needle into a fishing hook, but could it be possible? Maybe. I know it probably wouldn't be ideal. And of course you would have to be careful also, because you might snap the metal You probably don't want to do that. I mean, that's probably gonna be a last resort where it's like, okay, you know, I tried everything else. Now I gotta sew it, but I have no sewing needle. But I have fishing line and a hook that has a hole or an eye hole in it for the fishing line. Maybe. I was just thinking about that. Just thinking about my button on my pants. So, let me see here. Wow, I've been at this for 90 minutes already. Yeah, time does fly by, and I already did like 3 rounds of this. But you know what? I will play. Let's go for. You guys want to go for another round of it? Let me know in the comments. 1 for yes, 2 for no again. You want to go for another round of this? And while you guys think about that, I'm gonna share something else here. Oh, something else I combined together. Called a maple leaf and this streamlight that I have. Oh, look what it does! I combined that together, which is funny because I actually tried that tried that out during Canada Day. I was just like, I had some stuff. I'm like, oh, I want to be more patriotic, and I'm like, I just walked around with this all day. Well, all night, I should say. It's kind of fun, and that's just something I put together. It was kind of fun, not only patriotic in that case, but, you know, the people we were with, it was kind of easier to keep tabs. You see, like, oh yeah, there he is. Can't miss the guy with a glowing maple leaf in his hands. And I mean, like, woo, I was like this, like, and stuff like that. And here's an example right here of something that you could use for signaling purposes too. So, just as a little extra knowledge, you can use something like this. Now, it doesn't have to be specifically a maple leaf, but those are things that can be used as a diffuser. So if you did have a flashlight with you, and you had to signal because, you know, you deem it necessary, and it's nighttime, you just happen to have a flashlight, if you had some way to diffuse the light into a color, let's say, for this example, I had this maple leaf, from whatever. Could be a lighter. I know a lighter can work. And let's say you had a little bit of tape. So yeah, I had to tape it on because it actually doesn't secure on. Now, let's say if I had some cordage, for example. Let's say it's a shoelace, maybe something similar to that. Maybe you planted ahead. You plant ahead. You have paracord on your shoes as shoelace and stuff like that. Use that. So here's that knowledge right here. Make that Arbor Canadian jam knot. I'm gonna put this below the clip. Secure that Arbor Canadian jam knot. Now, and you can make a signal halo, which is also known as a buzzsaw halo. So, and obviously anyone, you know, sensitive to light or something like that, that's your warning, because obviously I'm gonna spin it. See, so you can make a signal halo like this. These are can be very useful, especially if you're trying to gain attention, right? I'm not saying do this at any time, but let me turn off the lights for a second here. Oops, wrong light. But you can easily, depending how long the line is, let's say the line's like 1 or 2 feet, you can make a halo that's up to 4 feet wide. If you have 10 feet of line and enough space to spin it, you can make a halo that's 20 feet wide. And remember, in science class, we all know that light is the fastest thing. Because of that, the halo kind of lingers in our head, and we see it as one complete thing or in motion. So like I said, you could spin this to gain attention, for example. Especially if I didn't, you know, I guess my battery's dying, but you get the idea. So, I mean, I've had videos on this. You can see the improvised diffusers that you can use. Stuff like that. So, like I said, I do this kind of thing a lot. Thinking outside the box, just considering things and stuff like that. So, example of it. Your brain's on vacation, but you're here. Thanks, puppy friend. Maybe I'll make you a boat to bring your brain back over, or something like that. Hello, Texas Little Star 63. Hi. Hello. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I don't have a stage prop for you. And for some reason, I can't find the stage prop I had for Aunt Puppy, bro. I brought it out. I don't know what happened to it. It seemed to have misplaced that doggy for some reason. Yeah, of course. It's not here. So yeah, you know what? Let's play another round of this. I know Texas Little Star. If you want to jump onto this Texas Little Star, I don't know if you've been here before for this mode or this kind of live stream, but basically we're taking random stuff and trying to put it together as a mental exercise to see what we can create from it. Maybe we're trying to make something useful. Maybe we're trying to improvise something. Regardless, it's this exercise, and kind of makes you think a little, think outside that box. Or for me, sometimes I'm thinking way outside, so far outside the box, I'm like in a different time zone. Just kidding. But it doesn't have to be anything like paracord or something like that. Like I said, it could be as simple as a pen. The idea is, in certain situations, you may have to use what you got, or use what you have to get what you need. Hopefully you would pre-plan it ahead better and stuff like that, but, things like gear can get lost, drop, break. Now here's an example right here of a real story. Their details might be changed just because when I watched it, but basically this guy tipped over on an ATV. He has gear in the attached to the ATV, but the ATV is pinning him. So think about that for a sec. You got gear with you. You can't get to it. You're pinned. Your leg's pinned. And this ATV is a couple hundred pounds. And you can't force it off of you. So that's why I came up with this in the first place. Another reason why, or an example of people having to improvise. Like he had a necklace on. Now there was like a hatchet or something that flew off. Luckily, it didn't have nothing happened to him from that. But he couldn't reach the hatchet because he's trying to reach the hatchet to break the line, the cordage and stuff, and the chains he has holding his stove, food, water. Like he has this stuff. It's like in the hard to reach. Like he can almost reach for it, but the thing is, it's secured onto his ATV, and he cannot get it off. He has sleeping bags and stuff like that. He cannot get it off, and unfortunately, he never did really get it off until he got rescued. But basically, he used his necklace to kind of lasso, for lack of a better word, his hatchet closer to him, so he could use that as a tool, like a hammer or a mallet. I'm like, yeah, that's an example right there. Aw, that's a shame. Like I said, it's not a big deal if I'm not playing it around at this. Like I said, the idea of this kind of combination mode time with me is Like I said, to think outside the box. Using what you got at times, and the best you can, obviously, to make do with it. I mean, I know people ask me, oh, what does creative redundancy actually mean? In a nutshell, it's the creative part is obviously what we're doing right now, and also the redundancy part is backup, contingency, and stuff like that. So you could see where some of that preparedness, survivalism, bushcrafting can come in. Now, I am no expert at it by any means. I'm just, learning it. I'm trying to apply the knowledge and stuff like that. Maybe gain a few skills, stuff like that. Maybe you learn how to do, bow drill and stuff like that. Which I tried. I've gotten smoke. I've gotten the spindle hot, like pretty hot, and smoke and stuff like that. I still have to blow an amber into flame and stuff like that. But I think once I get that coal or an amber, I think I'll be in that next zone where it's like, okay, I can do this now. Because I've blown charcloth and other ambers into flame with sword ignition, so I'm quite used or have done it before. But actually getting the bow drill to an amber blown into flame, I have not done that all yet. So I'm working on that. I might try again. I mean, I've been trying it with a skateboard wheel. And again, wheel and axle. Or in this case, more like a wheel. To reduce the friction. So at least I would know, be like, oh, okay, this is the more easy way of doing it. Then once I get into that and have actually done that, then I can experiment with other bearing blocks, more natural bearing blocks. Something that doesn't have a bearing. Or something that's more natural. Or something I can find. And see if I can do it from that. And if I do that, I'd be like, wow. I'll actually feel like I've actually accomplished something. Because right now I've only accomplished one thing, making smoke. And that doesn't necessarily equal fire in this case. Especially with a bow drill or friction fire. Yeah, exactly. Well, coming back to this example of this guy pinned by an ATV, like I said, he had a necklace with a ferro rod on it, something similar to that, and like I said, he used that. That is part of your everyday care, your EDC. Like, I had to resort to EDC items before because, like I said, I didn't have access to something else. Which is funny because I wasn't even gone that long. It was like 5 minutes down the street. Well, something happened down the street. Let's just say things are good, but yeah. Another reason why I'm like, yep, I think I like this EDC item. It's coming in real handy right now. And it's not necessarily like a tool or something like that. It was something first aid related, let's just say. So I keep that in mind, and I justify wearing that or bringing it with me. Because I know I'd be like, maybe not this time, maybe not next time, but it could be that next time. Where it's just like, oh, something just happened and I don't have this specifically. But thank goodness I have something in my pockets or something on me that I might be able to use or make do for now until I get back to, something more substantial. Or get back to that backpack, for example, of gear. Because, like I said, it could happen to any one of us where maybe I could easily be. Everyone knows I like to bike a lot. Now, I'm not saying this would actually happen in the same way, but where I would get pinned, but I could be kind of stuck, right? and for some reason my backpack just kind of slipped off, and it's too far away, but I'm not pinned, but I'm stuck in a position with this bike where, hey, I pull out something and be like, try to use what I have on me to kind of get unstuck, get back to that bag, and go from there. So let's see here. Oh wow, I haven't been going for almost 2 hours here. Again. Man, time does fly by when you're live streaming. So much so that I forgot that I had coffee. You know, it's funny, I haven't shown my EDC yet. I know some of you have seen sneak peeks on it and stuff like that. And I do promise I will show this EDC eventually. Eventually. It's on me right now, let's just say. And, you know, things in your pocket and stuff like that. Like keys, for example. Here's an example right here. And I'm pretty sure some people have done this before. And if this one person's watching, you know who I'm talking about. You. Because you've done it twice. But keys. So you have keys in my pocket right now. In my hand. Always make sure you have your keys with you. In your pocket. Even if you're sitting around at home. Because, for some reason, if you kind of exit your door and you didn't realize it was in the lock position and the door shut or whatever, you wouldn't be able to get back in because it's in the lock position and now the door's shut. Oh wait, I got my keys. EDC item. I don't have to worry about that. For example, this actually has, now granted this has happened to me once, although I rarely not go with all my keys. But I've seen some other people, they tell me these stories, and I'm like, I can't. And they're like, yeah, I know. But it's that kind of, you know, when you need it the most, you might not have it. And those EDC items are more important than you might realize. You know, obviously it's not gonna be as substantial or durable or something like that compared to something you might have in your backpack, for example. But you might not always have access to your backpack, where you gotta, you know, put things together with what you got on you. And I don't know how many people have encountered that before, but I've encountered that a few times, and these stories I hear kind of always remind me, oh, like, okay, it's time to go out. Okay, keys, check, you know, and stuff like that. Making sure you got them on you. And there's various ways of doing it, depending on what your kind of person you are with keys. I know for me, I don't like light keys. I need my keys to be not super heavy, but heavy enough. Heavy enough till I can feel them in my pocket. Because here in Canada, it gets cold. And hopefully not too soon this year, but in the cold, I'm wearing so much clothes I can't even feel half the stuff, and I'm wearing gloves, right, too. So it's nice to be like, hear that sound in my pocket. You can probably hear that in my pocket right now. So I could just be like, yeah, I got my keys. Stuff like that. If I have anything else, or let's say I'm borrowing a key from a friend because, you know, I'm staying at their place, they're like, oh, hey, CR, take my key. You can use it to get back in. You know, I take that and join it to my keys, for example. I've done that before with a friend. Or let's say they had their keys and they're like, hey, can you watch my keys? I got no pockets and I don't want to drop them on, so I'll be like, yeah, join them with my keys. Make it heavier, and, you know, if I lose my keys, well, yeah, then we're screwed. Alright, Texas Little Star. I do appreciate you coming by, though. I do. You've been around with me for a while. I do appreciate it. And I've talked to you and stuff like that. So coming back to this, you know, I know it's all nice and fun in this mode, combination mode. It is fun. It is fun. Very interesting on what people suggest as an item and stuff like that. But on a serious note of things, you know, maybe bring a few extra everyday carry items. Maybe bring that extra thing. Whatever it is, tool, whatever. Maybe you won't need it this one time, but you might actually need it that next time. Where you're like, oh, thank goodness I decided to bring this. Look how useful it is right now. Such as, for example, an emergency poncho. I know some places, you know, what that saying goes. For a lot of places, wait 5 minutes, they don't change. I know a lot of people that use that saying for their own personal area. Wait 5 minutes, it'll change, right? Kind of deal. Well, if you actually had that poncho with you, you'd be like, oh, it's starting to pour a little. It's starting to rain heavier. Oh, yeah, thank goodness I decided to bring that poncho. Or a garbage bag, even. So you don't have to get soaked. And yes, I have one time when I was biking, I was just like, oh, I'll make it back. It's not that far. 10 minutes. 15 minutes at the most. Of course, starts pouring rain out. And stuff like that. I had other stuff with me. And stuff like that. But let's just say I had to improvise something on that time. It was not pretty either. And ever since then, I'm like, yeah. I'm taking a garbage bag with me. Or a poncho. One or the other. Or both. So I don't have to go for that. Because it was pouring rain. And it's that situation where you're getting wet. You're soaked. It's windy. And it was only 10 Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit now. So, yeah. Not saying that's the coldest I've been. Obviously, you know, here in Canada it gets colder than that. But for that time of year, it was cold. And I remember that all the time now. And yeah. I don't want to go for that again. Because that was quite miserable. Now, thank goodness I wasn't far from home and stuff like that. But I can't even imagine if I was like out camping and no access to fire to dry out and stuff like that. Now it's one thing when you know that you have a place to dry out. It's totally different not knowing. Right? You might be like be even more precautious and not even try to get wet at all. Especially if you have no way of drying yourself out. You know, you don't have access to fire. You're not inside a building, inside a warm building and stuff like that, where you can dry out. So, for example, again, I'll use this as an example. If you were homeless, you know, you might be like, yeah, I don't want to get wet. I have no way to dry out. If I get wet, it's only, let's say, 50 Fahrenheit, 10 Celsius up. You get soaking wet, you might feel cold, and then you'll be miserable, and you know, and so forth. Where, hey, oh, this random person gave me a garbage bag. Oh, hey, I can use that. You know, now you're nice and dry, not worrying about the rain so much, and you can stay dry a little. That's assuming you don't have like a jacket already, for example. Not sure why my Aki's not working. Although I have a different device, so I keep forgetting that I can probably use this. And anyways, let's see my time here. Oh, coming up to the 2-hour mark, apparently. So, yeah, I mean, these are just things I've learned by experiencing it myself. And to the point where I'm like, yeah, let's try not to do that again. Like I said, I'm no expert in this stuff. In the survivalism, bushcrafting, preparedness, and stuff. But let's just say once bitten, twice shy, and I'm like, yeah, let's not try to get soaking wet in 50 Fahrenheit plus 10 with crazy strong winds, especially being soaking wet. Cause yeah, I know it's above freezing, but still, I was just like, wow, this water is pulling heat away from me so fast. Now, if it was dry, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I wasn't. So I keep that in mind now and be like, yeah, I'm bringing some extra stuff. And ideally, I probably should have brought something that one time, but wasn't thinking ahead. But now, after experiencing it, I'm just like, yeah, let's not attempt to do that again. It was not pretty. And I always kind of be like, well, if it starts raining or whatever, I'm like, okay, well, it's not quite steady enough. So sometimes I won't put on something, but I'll be like, wow, it's pouring out, or it's falling fast enough, or heavy enough, or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, you know what? I can justify pulling out this garbage bag, for example, to use. I've actually done that a couple times with garbage bags. I know it does help, especially to keep dry. Because as many of you may be aware of, water what is can absorb energy or thermal energy quite fast or quite easily. It can easily, especially it can pull heat away from your body very fast. Now it's found to something like piece of metal, like steel, aluminum, or something like that. But it's definitely gonna be faster than if you were not wet. Or yeah, it'd be faster because you're wet and not in a dry state. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Oh yeah, exactly. On puppy breath, you're not pretty. You're not pretty. I mean, just a simple a simple thing like, see, I'm talking about combining things together. A simple thing like some extra wine. Let's say I do have some. See, here's some miscellaneous wine. Let's say you found, like I said, I'm gonna give an example like how maybe I would have done it or should have done it or whatever. But you have some wine. You found some wine maybe in the grass or whatever. It's starting to rain. You see a garbage bag or whatever. For some reason, or you had one on you, and you didn't have a poncho, and your jacket that you're wearing is not per se waterproof, and you know it's not soak through eventually. Something like this, some little bit of cordage, I can easily. You don't even really need per se tools to cut a bag. Does help, I guess, but you can rip it. Maybe rip something for somewhere near the middle to put your neck through, some armholes and stuff like that. Well, what you could do also with the cordage, if you did find some, is wrap it around your waist. For example, similar to tying your shoe, you could probably do this with an arbor knot or hanging down on, but you could tie it like a shoelace. So it's around your waist, this line. And remember, this improvised poncho garbage bag you have over top. And let's say it's not as warm as you think. And although you're not getting per se really wet, you're starting to feel that cold. Maybe it's a little bit lower in temperature. Maybe it's only like above 45 Fahrenheit plus 5. Like, you're probably in that kind of should be very, very cautious of getting wet. Because in around that zone, it's the temperature is low enough that even if you got wet and stayed wet too long, you start feeling that heat loss, which can lead to hypothermia. And remember, hypo means below, hyper means above, so keep that in mind. Or being too cold or overheating. So hypothermia can set in. But anyways, coming back to the example, wrap the cord around your waist, and you might be able to find something dry or have something else with you to stuff inside for insulation. Because a garbage bag on its own, you're gonna have this big opening at the bottom anyways. But if you tie it off, you can prevent air from getting in or circulating, the convection currents going through, and stuff like that. And you got that warm air pocket, which you could stuff stuff in, like maybe newspaper or something like that. Maybe you're homeless when you're doing this. I think there's still newspaper stands or boxes or whatever. It's possible. I remember this one time a while ago. I was talking to someone real quick. I didn't even know them or whatever. I'm like, I kind of suggested that. I'm like, because they look cold and this is the middle of winter. I'm like, newspaper can be used as insulation. Especially, you start combining it with some other stuff. You can make something work. No, I've never actually had to need to do that before, but I do know about using it as insulation because, well, I've used paper before as insulation for a science project. That's how I kind of know about this. Like, I've used their stuff before for insulation, not quite newspaper, but, as long as it's dry, of course. But something like newspaper could work. So, I just want everyone to know that it's not always just about gear. Sometimes it's that knowledge that makes the difference. Gear can change. You may not have access to it, but that knowledge, it kind of sticks around with you most of the time. Most of the time, it's on your side. You can dip into it if you need to. Maybe use that information you gained from a previous experience and be like, oh yeah, this looks like that one time. Unlike that one time, I think I'm gonna do this time and take some precautions beforehand. So let me welcome you into the room here, prepping to endure. Hello. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I appreciate it. Well, and Puppy Birth, like I said, that's why the cordage line I like to have it with me because it does give me options. It does give me options. Now, I have tried to make natural cordage before, but I mean, it takes some time and you need the right kind of resource for it. It may take some, per se, priming time. Where, oh hey, I got this random cordage. Maybe it's not paracord or whatever, but hey, it's probably gonna be better than any natural cordage I can make. It's already here. And a lot of having line or cordage on you is not that too overly difficult to have. People wear bracelets and stuff like that. I mean, I got one on right now. I'll even take it off. I got one on right now. I know, I don't dip into this as cordage because usually I do have something with me. Because it's not in a quick deploy version of it, but I do keep it with me just in case. Just in case. No, I have actually made a bracelet before where I actually did dip into it because I actually needed that. I was just like, it was the only way to lash something together and I had to bring it back. But I was just like, thank God I decided to bring this with me. I was wearing it. It was not in my bag. Even though I did bring a bag, it wasn't in my bag. I actually had line in my bag, but I needed even more. I was just like, oh, well, what do I got? I'm like, well, I guess I can use this quick deploy the bracelet. That was a good time to deploy this because I needed it. Because I had to bring something back. It was some sort of organization thing. I was just like, yeah, I want to bring this back. The organization thing's worth it. But I'm like, oh, but I gotta bring it back without destroying it. I'm like literally trying to bike someone back with something really tall and awkwardly like rectangular in shape. So it's just like I had to lash it. I had to tie it on, and I've never done that since. But I'm like, thank goodness I had that extra cordage with me, and kind of literally tied it together and made it work. I mean, that's before I learned more about these knots, so I think now I would probably be like, oh yeah, I'll be using this air knot instead of arbor knot, which I can show real quick. 1, 2, over, over, under, through the loop, tie together, bring the loops together. I know I did that fast, but ever since I learned this, it's starting to be my new. I mean, I wouldn't say new, but it's starting to be more a knot that I use a lot more often. This is like, what's that called? Taut line, I believe. Something like that. But basically, in a nutshell, you can use it similar to like a zip tie. Because it'll actually hold to a certain degree, hold the tension in there. Because these loops that go around, these 2 loops, and then this other loop that's in front of it, it provides friction around the line itself, and that's where it holds it. So that's why I can pull down on this and it won't tighten up. Now, obviously, if there's enough weight, it will do it, but it resists kind of moving. And just similar to like a acoustic knot, it slides when there's no load on it, as you can see. But put a load on it, it's not even sliding. Now, I wouldn't use this in certain applications. I probably use like a bowline or an alpine butterfly knot, but for a compression knot, I do like it though. So that's probably, if I, from the previous example, if I changed or did it differently, I probably would use more of this stuff like that. But that's just something I've learned. Now I'm done starting applying it wherever I can. Wow, what's it? Hello, Marie, and Old School with a Modern Twist. Hello, both of you. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I know you guys have been listening to me because you just came in, so you probably heard all of these examples. So, if anyone's wondering, because I know some of you are new for this mode, or to this version of a live stream, combination mode is basically where the audience, side chat, we come up with one item each, does not matter what it is, and we can play another round of this if you want to, but it could be a pen, pencil, whatever. The idea is bringing these things together with a tool, which I would say be like a multi-tool, for example, pliers, scissors, something like that, and taking just that tool and the items indicated or written down in the chat or commented, see what we can do with it. See what we can put together with it. It's an exercise to train the mind, to think outside the box a little, come up with different ideas. Whether or not they work, it depends on the situation, obviously. And obviously, in a real situation, you may have more to work with, but sometimes you have less to work with. And you're probably like, oh, but CR, I keep a bunch of stuff in the backpack all the time. It's always with me. Yeah, you know what? I keep a backpack too, and stuff. But sometimes you may not have access to it, or for some reason you decided, oh, I'm just going in for 5 minutes. Something else happens, and then you can't get access to that bag. Where now you're forced to improvise. Because sometimes improvising isn't ideal. You have to make some compromises. It might not even always work, per se, just because You know, like, oh, I want to hold this bucket and I only have floss with me, but the bucket weighs like 20, 40 pounds. It's probably not gonna happen, for example. So, yes, I do appreciate you both coming by. So, if you give me a one in the chat right now, if you're game for playing another round of combination mode time with me. One for yes, two for no. It was funny. When I was typing that out, I was like, yeah, one for yes, two for now. I mean, no. I'm like, wait, there's no W in now. I mean, no. Even though I should know that. Now. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, I guess that's possible. I've known that you can use pens for different things, and I've tried them out. There'll be another video on something else. Once I actually do that video, I can refer to it more often. I know sometimes I don't indicate everything. It's because I want to shoot a video on it first. I don't want to release everything at once. Then I wouldn't have anything else for these air live streams or air static videos. So, if you guys want to leave one item in the chat right now, we can play another round of this. Another round of combination mode time with CR. And we could see what we can put together. And you can kind of get a glimpse of what goes on in my head at times. Because combination mode, I do that quite a bit. Just seeing things and being like, you know, or maybe you've even seen a video and you're like, you know what? I'm not trying to sell. I'm not trying to put these two things together just like how they did it. And see, is it as easy as they make it look, or is there hidden details that, unless you actually did it, you'd be like, wouldn't know. And some of these channels, not saying anything specific or any specific channel, may not give you the details behind it so much. Where it's just like, look, from this to that, with no in between, no details or things to consider along from being that to that. Exactly. I know that. Right? I remember. I trying to remember people out there. People. Not just channels, but people. So we'll see if we're gonna be game for another round of this. Oh, okay, and puppy breath. And you know what's funny? I have that. See, in my previous live stream, I actually indicated that I found this later. No, it's probably almost dead. And I will show us now. Hopefully, I can pull this off. But a trick that you can do when it's barely enough, not fully dead, and you wouldn't use this trick if it was working. But I'll show that in a bit. So we got a almost dead later, big later. Hey, you know what's funny? And it's actually big. See, I actually found this in a parking lot. I was just like, oh, let's take a look. Maybe. I've actually have found lighters that are half full. I've even found lighters that are full. For some reason, you know, people drop them or whatever. But I keep an eye out for them. Because that next lighter might actually be usable. Not all the time. I know sometimes, a lot of the time, people will actually ditch lighters that aren't working or whatever. But sometimes I get lucky. You would see it every so often. I know this one time when I was scavenging, I've shown it before, where I actually took a lighter where the flint inside had rotted away, or rusted away, but the fuel in it was full. I just replaced the flint. Now, for example, that lighter still worked. Or I got that lighter from a useless state, or in a state that, oh, I gotta spark it with something else, to, hey, I could spark it on its own, get a flame again. And that was easy. That was not even that difficult to do. I had twins left over from like previous lighters, where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll just put this one in. A little trial and error to get the wheel on the right spot so it would spark the right way, not the wrong backwards way. But I managed to do it. So let's see what you guys got. I'm trying to grow that collection. Modern, old school with modern twist. I'm trying to improve on that. Because if I realize anything, Skeeter is nice to have. Yeah, I'll be honest, right? Everyone likes Skeeter. But sometimes, it's not always Skeeter that's the most important thing. Yeah, it's not definitely help, but that knowledge behind it, knowing how to using it, knowing how to troubleshoot it too. So things not going well in your fire, you'd be like, oh, I should try to get some more airflow in. Maybe get some standing sticks where there is still flame, and maybe it'll help it grow. Maybe get that updraft and stuff like that. Where no, just because you saw it on YouTube or whatever, you'd be like, well, it's not working like that. They said on YouTube. Well, that might be because that's in an ideal situation. It's sunny out. And you're trying to do it when it's like 30 below out and it's windy as well. Windy. And you're trying to do it where you have to kind of adapt the information to your certain situation. If that makes any sense. I do like that question, by the way. I don't have a lot of books. I do have more. Well, I should say I don't have a lot of hardcover or paperback books. I should say I do have other material, reading material, but they're in a kind of PDF document form. Although I would like to have some of them in a hard copy though. Now, I do have one thing that is in a hard copy, and you guys will be aware of it because it's very common. Yes, I do have... Oh, I should flip it over. I do have this, yes, it's the second one. I've read this a couple times, actually. It's quite interesting. There's a few little things that I want to try out some more of. And just some things that I've been referring to and just like, okay, well, it says it in this book. Let's try it out. Stuff like that. Oh, yeah, see. Sword ignition and stuff like that. Honestly, I've gotten used to that now. Again, quite proficient at it. See. Bow drill or a fire bow, stuff like that. I actually probably should read this. Maybe I can get some more tips. So I can actually perform a real bow drill fire from start to finish and blow it into flame. And I just get smoke. Stuff like that. There's a lot of things where I'm like, when I'm thinking of stuff and where I'm like, let's refer to this. I do have a PDF version of this too, but I like this hard copy. It's easy for me to just flip through stuff like that. I'm trying to learn more about edibles. See, these pictures in this, like, it's an illustration. It's not a photo. So sometimes I'd be like, okay, I think I'm identifying this right. I mean, it's one thing to identify something like cattail or even like a strawberry or raspberry, but it's totally different trying to identify something else that you're not as familiar with, you haven't seen it as often, and you're like, I'm not quite exactly sure. Because also there's always those lookalikes and stuff like that. And knowing the knowledge of like, hey, I know these are wild onions or wild garlic because it smells like it and it's got that tubular hollowness to it and stuff like that. Where all the lookalikes apparently don't smell like it and don't have that tubular thing apparently, stuff like that. You know, a lot of the stuff I've read, I mean, like, Prusik, you might not see that, it's just the Prusik knot on this side. Stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is quite useful. I won't say that I know everything in this book. By no means do I know everything in this book, but I'm trying to apply some of this information from here to here, and maybe experiencing it and seeing it in the real world. You know, not just in a book or on a video or in a picture, but actually seeing it in the real world and be like, oh, this is actually what a cattail looks like in the real world, not just some photo or whatever. So, I should say hello, Kitty. I mean, hello, Vanessa Kitty. Thank you for taking the time to drop in. I appreciate it. I know you were by the last time I did this combination multiple times, so I know you're familiar with it. So yeah. Yeah, I got this. Not old school with modern twist. Some of it is quite useful. I know they have a third edition. That's what I got right now. I know I'm behind the chat a little. Slightly here. There we go. We see here. You research every day. I do some research, especially on topics or things I'm not 100% confident or know everything about. Okay? Thanks and Puppy Breath. I do appreciate when you come by. I do. It means a lot. I know your channel support is always appreciated here. It's always exciting to hear from you and Puppy Breath. How do I say? It's always awesome. Oh wait, there's a video called that, by the way. Wink wink. Well, let me read this real quick. What Twisted Little Star just wrote here. Well, you live in the desert. Here's information about learning how to make a solar still. That information's in there. It could be useful. Learn the information of like, hey, I'm gonna go right at dawn, get this dude with my bandana I have, for example. Now I don't need to do that because it actually here in Canada we don't have many desert areas, and it's usually water is not too difficult. There's lakes and streams and stuff like that throughout Canada, but just kind of touch on what Texas Little Star just said in the chat. Well, it's cool. This is an example. Like, you know, for like people say, oh, I don't need fishing line, fishing hooks. I live in the desert. There's no water nearby. That might be true. That might be true. But you could be using that stuff for other stuff too. Not necessarily for catching a fish. I've never actually tried using fish line to catch something else besides fish, but I've heard about this kind of stuff with like berries and floss before. Not the greatest thing to do, but you know, if you had to. Thank you, old school with modern twist. I do appreciate you twisting by. No, just kidding. Thanks for coming by. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Even though you didn't stay as long as maybe some other people, you know, I still do appreciate it because you're taking the time to drop in and checking out CR. I do appreciate it. That's very cool. Jeez, I didn't even realize how long I've been going for. Jeez, 2.5 hours. Alright, I think I think I'm probably gonna need a break soon. You know what? I think I'll take a break. Let's see. I was gonna go for another round, but I decided since I have less people in right now, now's probably a good time to kind of cut it, as they say. So in the last couple minutes here, I'm coming up to the bottom of the second hour. I want to say special thanks to Old School with Modern Twist, Slow Star, Will from Just in Time Prepping, Vanessa Kitty, and Puppy Breath, Chief Things Outdoors, Johnny, and Marie came by, prepping to enter Old Man, FFP, Food, Forest, Permaculture, Core Survival, and all those people. I do appreciate you all coming by and checking out the live while it was live. Just still watching this on the replay right now. Wow. Thank you for sticking around throughout this 2.5 hours. And maybe give you a little bit more to combine that gear with a little extra knowledge. And that's the skills of, let's say, trying to make a feather stick. You know, maybe you can combine it with something else and get somewhere. Thank you, Texas Gold Star. I do appreciate you coming by. I appreciate it. Hope to see you live on your channel too. Take care, Texas Gold Star. So, let's see here. Whatever you combine, you know, if it works or it doesn't, you know, remember that these things won't always work together. But if you don't try it or test it, or try or test it out, you may never know. You may be surprised on things that you can do with stuff and gear. You know, maybe it's not ideal, but you'd be like, oh wow, this actually works better than I thought. And I'm just improvising it or not using an ideal thing. Where something like the selfie stick, you know, maybe you're using it as a fishing rod, I don't know, or some sort of bellows for a fire. It's possible. That's just outside the box thinking, or outside the rod thinking, stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying go out and do it with every selfie stick, but you know, if you had to, or maybe you broke your selfie stick or something like that, or found a broken one. That could be an option. To be like, oh yeah. So, as I drop something, go figure. Like always, remember, we all can create a better future starting today. So, like always, as the world changes, so must oneself to reach a new level of skill and knowledge. One must practice. A single person can't help everyone in this world, of course. But one person, me, you, even anyone that was in the chat, even if you think you can't help, you might be able to. Maybe not everyone in the world. Like I said, you can't help everyone in the world, unfortunately. Like, you know, we would like to, but just the way it is. But you can help someone out there. Maybe it's that friend down the street, that old lady across the street, that kind of metaphor or example. Or maybe, just maybe, you're helping people that you'll never meet by helping people to help them out. You know, church, groups, stuff like that. Maybe you're helping relief efforts or something like that. You know, you might not be helping everyone, but you are helping someone out there. So until the next live stream and video for me, it's peace out from, you know, the guy that's in creation mode a lot of the time, and is also known as CR. It's peace out from Creative Redundancy, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care.